Before we dive in, please take a minute and click subscribe to my channel and check out the link you see on your screen for a message from my sponsor, The Motley Fool. Get the top 10 stocks to invest in right now. It's the best way to support this work I'm doing on YouTube. Again, I encourage you to go to that link, fool.com/Frankel. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Social Security cost of living adjustment. I am going to share my screen for just a second. Let's see. All right. So there is the Social Security cost of living adjustment. It was revised upward. This is a forecast, by the way, for what you will see in your January 2025, the payment you receive in January 2025, which is technically for December. Remember, Social Security is paid a month in arrears. So this is technically the 2024 COLA. It goes into effect with December 2024 benefits, but this is the money that will actually show up in your bank account, or the check that will actually show up in your mailbox in January of 2025. So again, an estimate right now, it was revised upward a little bit from 2.57% to 2.63%. That could, the long story short is that can result in an extra dollar or two from what was expected on your Social Security benefits. It's based on the recent inflation data, but the actual cost of living adjustment that you get, really important to know this part, will be based on third quarter inflation. That's July, August, and September, compared to the same period from last year. So there is no way to know for sure at this point what the actual cost of living adjustment is going to be. If inflation is a little higher than expected, that number could be revised even higher upward. And similarly, if inflation cools off more than expected, that could be revised downward from here. And very important to know that. But for the time being, expect a little over a 2.6% cost of living adjustment. So that's the good news, is your Social Security benefits are going to go up next year. Two bad news things. So Medicare Part B premiums. So Medicare Part B premiums are usually deducted from your Social Security benefits, as any retirees listening to this probably know. But what you might not know is that recent increases to the Medicare Part B premiums have outpaced the Social Security cost of living adjustment. For this year, your Medicare Part B premiums increased by 5.9% compared to just a 3.2% rise in the cost of living adjustment. So I want to share something else real quick. And I really want to make the point that this was not a unique situation. So bear with me for a second while I get this chart up to a size that you can see before I share it with you, because I don't want to put up a tiny chart on my on this video. So here you go. Here's the chart right here. And you can see right there, this is the annual Medicare Part B premium adjustments. And I know the writing's still kind of small, so I'll talk you through the key parts right here. So the year before last, we saw a 14.5% hike in Medicare Part B premiums, one of the largest in program history, as you can see right there. That compares to a Social Security cost of living adjustment in 2022 of just 8.7%. So in a lot of recent years, Medicare Part B premium growth has outpaced the raises you're getting as a Social Security beneficiary. So you can see there are a lot of double-digit increases. 2003 and 2004, up by 13.5% and 17.4%, another 13% in 2005. And if you look at the Social Security cost of living adjustments during that period, you'll see a 2.1%, 2.7%, and 4.1%. So it is, Medicare Part B premiums have a pretty clear history of growing faster than the cost of living adjustments that Social Security beneficiaries are getting. So let me go ahead and put the slides back up real quick. All right, the other reason that, and in my mind, the biggest one, that Social Security beneficiaries are not getting the increase that would really benefit them is the way that we calculate inflation for cost of living adjustment purposes. Under the current law, the CPIW is used. That's the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. that doesn't sound like it would apply well to retirees, and in a lot of ways it doesn't. A better metric, there actually is a CPI metric that's specifically designed for the elderly, the CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. It places more emphasis on expenses that really affect retirees, specifically healthcare, which it's no secret that the average retiree pays more for healthcare than the average American, and housing. The average retiree pays more of their as a percentage of their income towards their housing than the average American. It's not that they're paying more for housing, it's that the average retiree has a lower income than the average working American, so they're paying a higher percentage of their assets or of their monthly income toward housing. So it's no secret that housing prices have gone up through the roof lately, same with healthcare prices. So it would be beneficial to retirees, and people have been lobbying for this forever, to use the CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. And here are the statistics. And if you're a Social Security beneficiary, this might make you mad. Trust me, I'm on your side. I think they should switch this, and a lot of other people do too. But here are the numbers. From 1982 through 2011, the CPIE grew at 3.1% annualized versus 2.9% for the CPIW that was actually used. So that 0.2% difference might not sound like a lot, but when you compound that over 10, 20 years or so of being on Social Security, it makes a big difference in the overall cost of living adjustments you get. Look at 2024. In 2024, the CPIE would have given you a 4% cost of living adjustment versus the 3.2% that you actually got. And it's not just 2024, and it's not just a long-term average. In 7 of the past 10 years, the CPIE would have resulted in a higher cost of living adjustment than was actually given to retirees. So we don't have the CPIE data yet for the third quarter of 2024. We don't even have the CPIW data that they're actually going to base the cost of living adjustment on. But in the majority of years recently, it would have been a better way and a more accurate way of calculating inflation for retirees. And usually it would have resulted in them getting even more from Social Security. So the 2.6% that's expected for the cost of living adjustment this year is not even based on the best metric that for the elderly to indicate inflation. So again, that's just how it's been done for since 1975. Again, being lobbied, a lot of people are lobbying to change the way that inflation is calculated, and I really think it should be. But that's the way it is. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Is the cost of living adjustment that you're expecting in 2025 good, or are the Medicare Part B premium potential adjustments that have historically outpaced cost of living adjustments and the bad way of calculating inflation, are those kind of negative factors that overshadow it? Love to hear what you think. Ask me any questions you have. I'll do my best to answer any of them individually. And thanks for watching. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment, so I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by more than 4 times, so go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 650% as of April 16th, 2024, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 148% as of April 16th, 2024.